What's up guys, Pi here. This is going to be all the gear that I just carried on my successful thru hike, the CDT. It's going to be one of 4 videos I'm going to be releasing over the next few weeks, so stay tuned for those other ones. A lot of the gear that I'm going to be showing you here I'm also going to be doing reviews of, so stay tuned to the channel. I'm going to go into further detail and depth on some of those individual items. Alright, so just starting with all the gear that I wore like whilst hiking. Pretty much all of my clothing is from Rail Riders. They make really lightweight, breathable gear. These are actually just swim shorts, so they come with a netting inside, but I don't like that, so I usually cut that out. But yeah, shirt's super breathable. You can see that I still haven't had an opportunity to wash it. It all stinks and it's pretty gross, but yeah, it's good stuff. I like a long sleeve shirt because if it's really sunny I can kind of cover up and then like roll the sleeves up as necessary. Good hat. I love wearing a baseball cap. Just helps keep the sun out of the eyes. So cool. Oh, and shoes. I did not wear Vans on the trail. I really enjoy Ultra Lone Peaks. I've tried all the different models over the past couple of years, and then for me this is just the best hiking shoe in my opinion. But cool, so on to the rest of the gear. Gossamer Gear was nice enough to send us a bunch of stuff, so I use the Gossamer Gear Silverback on the trail. It's a pretty lightweight pack, but it's designed to be like a little bit more durable, so it has like a fabric pocket as opposed to mesh, and it's just used as a little bit heavier duty fabrics. I did get one tear in it, but just fixed it with duct tape and had no other problems whatsoever. On there I had a buff, or what used to be a buff. I carried this on the AT and the entire CDT, so that's going to go in the trash after that. But it's a merino wool buff, really like that. And then on there I've got the cell phone holder from Gossamer Gear as well. It's nice to just have your phone like easily accessible to like listen to music. And then one of my favourite pieces of gear from this trail is called the keyhole. Basically what you do, it acts as a sternum strap, and then there's an attachment that goes on the bottom of your camera and you just slot that in there. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, but I ended up really enjoying it because it just gave me like really quick access to my camera. I did break one, so this is the second one that I used on the trail, but honestly for the amount of abuse and the weight it takes bouncing up and down like throughout the entire trail, I think it's really cool, so I'll be reviewing that. It's an excellent piece of gear. So the tent I carried, that was also from Gossamer Gear. That's the Gossamer Gear 1. This is the updated version. They made a few small changes to it, and I absolutely love this tent. Yeah, super light, uses your trekking poles to go up, and it's like fully enclosed, never got wet once, so that's awesome. A bunch of different stakes in there with one extra. I ended up needing to use that at some point because you always lose a stake. And then I just used a section of poly cryo as a ground sheet. It's a little bit frustrating, but I think it's important to protect. The main reason I use that in conjunction with the tent is to protect my sleeping pad. I did get a hole in my first sleeping pad I used on the trail, but I just think it's good to have that as like a little bit of added protection. My water system is the Soya Squeeze. Like everyone else, it's the best option in my opinion. They did make some updates since I used it on the AT, so the flow is a little bit better. I actually just had one 1 litre water bottle with a Soya always attached, and I would usually just drink directly from it whilst hiking. And then I carried a 500 milliliter Gatorade bottle, which is what I made my coffee in and any drink mixes. And then for the longer stretches where I needed to carry more water, the Platypus water bag, awesome, carries about 2.5 litres, which my total carrying capacity was about 4 litres, which is more than you ever really needed, so that's great. And then into cook kit. This is a stainless steel pot I picked up at an auto parts store. I carried it on the AT. It holds about 1 litre. I was actually going to replace it with a titanium pot for the CDT, but I did some research and this actually weighs the same as an equivalent titanium 1 litre pot. So this has some like memories for me. Wanted to take that. It doesn't have a handle, so I just made this little koozie for it and I can just eat straight out of it. I like having a slightly bigger pot so I can have a big meal and also make a hot chocolate at the same time. I had a bit of an issue with stoves on this trail. I started off with a pocket rocket, which I'd carried on the AT and used a bunch. and it gave out about halfway into the CDT. I don't know exactly what happened. I think the threads got cross-threaded, so the seal, it wouldn't seal anymore. So got rid of that and replaced it with this tiny little thing from Olicamp, which is super lightweight, packs down really small, but that also shit the bed. So I ended up like not carrying a stove for the last probably third of the trail and just borrowing other people's. A little bit frustrating, but I'm hoping I can just get in contact with both companies and hit them up on that warranty. So carried a large fuel, carried a long handled spoon and a small microfiber cloth to clean out the pot, and also if I was eating like soupy ramen, it would be nice to have to like just wipe my face just to kind of clean up as much as possible. A Bic lighter, I carried 2 of those, one in the cook pot and one in my ditty bag just in case of emergencies. The Osprey large stuff sack was my food bag. I really liked that just because it could hold at least 5 to 6 days worth of food in there, and I could get inside the bag really easily without having to, you know, dive through and get everything. It was really easy access, like that a lot. And then the Hyperlite pod was my ditty bag, so that contained all the little small items I'm going to show you. I really like that because it kind of acts like a tray, so I can leave it on the floor next to me but then have really easy access to it. So yeah, all the small stuff. I had to carry my passport with me pretty much everywhere I went because of my visa, so that went inside this little guy here. Also inside there was some extra cash and a few SD cards. This is kind of my first aid kit, so it's basically just some anti-diarrheal tablets, nail clippers and some basic stuff like that. A battery pack enabled me to just charge stuff on the go, really essential. And then I also had a Coast headlamp. I really liked it. Other people had some issues with it, but for me it was fine. It was rechargeable, so what I would do is I would just take the battery pack out when I was hiking to make sure it didn't turn on in my pack, and then when I got into camp, flip it around again and it was good. This one was really bright and you can focus the beam, so I personally really enjoyed it. Pair of headphones, I did carry 2 with me just in case I lost one. 2 micro USB cables. That worked in conjunction with my wall charger, which has 4 ports, so I was able to charge my camera and my battery pack and my phone all at the same time, which I found really useful. Charger for the iPhone and the iPhone, some sunscreen. I only really carried that in areas where I knew we were going to be kind of exposed. This little guy is like a massage ball for your feet. I had quite a lot of foot pain on this trail because we were doing kind of bigger miles, and this was really nice when you got to town just to rub your feet and kind of work out some of those knots. Toothbrush, toothpaste, little floss stick, and some Gold Bond just to like kind of cut down on the chafing a little bit. I do have kind of an issue with chafing, it's just something that I have to deal with. So I carried in my hip belt pocket, I picked this up from Rusty, was some Vaseline or some A&D if I could find it. Got to take care of that bum. Chapstick, because I'm not about to put that stuff on my lips, so a dedicated chapstick for my lips. My main camera on the trail was the Sony A7R II, which is what we're recording on right now. But I found this little film camera for $2 at a flea market in Derby. Ran a couple of rolls of film for it and got some really fun results. So it was fun to also shoot on that. It's pretty lightweight. It's like a zoom 24-70. Doesn't really weigh very much, so it's super good fun to shoot on that. Looking forward to getting some more rolls of film back. Granite Gear wallet with just some cash and some cards, a comb to take care of the beard, cheap gas station sunglasses. I think I went through 4 pairs. I don't really like spending a lot of money on sunglasses because I break them or lose them. Poop kit, pretty self-explanatory. Toilet paper and hand sanitizer. And then I had a titanium poop trail from Vargo. This thing's amazing. It cuts through roots really well, and you can dig a hole quite quickly. So I'm going to be reviewing that. That thing's pretty sweet. And then onto my clothes. Aside from what I was wearing, I had 2 pairs of Under Armour boxer shorts with me. I've used those for years whenever I'm traveling or hiking. I really like them, so I had 1 fresh pair and 1 dirty pair, so when I got to town and had a shower, I would switch those out, clean the dirty pair and put the fresh pair on. Smart wool, merino wool, long underwear, top and bottom. I love smart wool. It keeps the stink away. It kept me warm. I didn't really need anything else but that. Carried 3 pairs of darn tough socks. I prefer the kind of ankle cut ones. So I would have basically 2 pairs of socks dedicated for hiking and then a longer pair for sleeping in, and I could obviously hike in them if I really needed to. As I said, I used ultra lone peaks on the trail. And I use those with Dirty Girl gaiters. This is the same pair of gaiters that I used on the Appalachian Trail. So they made that entire trail plus the CDT. They've got a bunch of holes in, and I definitely am going to be throwing them out. But to me, for the price that you pay to go through 2 through hikes is pretty incredible. I like them a lot. I feel like they help keep all the dust and dirt out of your shoes, and that kind of keeps your socks cleaner and prevents blisters and stuff. I struggle with cold hands a lot on the trail, so I had kind of like a system dialed in pretty well. I had these really thin gloves from Defeat. They sent us a bunch of pairs. They're kind of a goofy colour, but they're easy to find inside your pack, which is cool. They've got like this gripping material on the inside. They are very thin, but used in conjunction with these guys right here, even in the coldest temperatures, my hands were warm enough. It would have been nice to have a thicker pair, but this worked really well. These are just a basic seal nylon, kind of Gore-Tex waterproof shell. I didn't use them that often, but I'm really glad I had them when I needed them, especially for Colorado where it was really wet and really cold. We'll be using those again. And then on to kind of the bigger stuff here. Trekking poles, Black Diamond, kind of cheap basic poles. They did bend, but they worked, they did the job. Important for me to have. I love hiking with trekking poles. I think it really helps. Plus my tent went up with them, so I had to carry them. My puffy jacket was the Rab Xenon X hoodie that I carried on the Appalachian Trail. I already have a review up of that. It's an excellent synthetic jacket. Honestly, I'm going to retire it after this trail for like more serious adventures. I'll continue to use it, but we'll probably be looking at picking up a down puffy at some point here in the future. One of my favourite pieces of gear on this trail is the Blackrock Gear down beanie. It packs down extremely small. You don't even notice the weight inside your pack, and it's filled with down. I really like this hat a lot. It makes a big difference. I must say it looks a little bit goofy, but it kept me warm and it was just cozy to sleep in at night time. I also carry a pillow. I think it's totally worth the wait, in my opinion. I think a good night's sleep. I struggle with sleep, so a good night's sleep to me is really important. Yeah, Sea to Summit pillow. The Thermarest Neo Air X-Lite, super comfortable, really warm. There's some good insulation in there, and it's one of the lightest sleeping pads on the market. My sleeping bag. So I started off the CDT with the Enlightened Equipment Revelation X. Revelation X Quilt. But after the AT, I'd washed it, and it never really kind of got its full loft back after that trail. So I was getting pretty cold early on. Fortunately, Big Agnes kind of hooked us up as well. They sent me out this, it's called the Orno UL 0 degree mummy bag. As you can tell, this thing's extremely puffy. It has a lot of loft to it. It's not actually released onto the market yet. I think it's coming out next year. I'd kind of been like warned off with mummy bags. I kind of thought I was like a convert to a quilt. But just using this, it is quite a tight mummy bag, so it's kind of restrictive, but just how warm it is, I think I'm actually converting back to using mummy style sleeping bags. So when I eventually do the PCT, which I will be doing eventually, I'll probably aim to pick up a mummy sleeping bag, but that's like rated to probably 20 degrees, I'm guessing. So kind of figuring that system out still, but this thing kept me warm. We got down into the teens in Colorado several times and I was never cold. I probably wore most of my clothing and was inside that, but Really warm, love that, really cool. It's kind of heavy, but that's what you have to pay. You kind of have to balance these things out. And then all of the clothing, anything that needed to stay dry, went inside another one of the big the Osprey stuff sacks. Kept everything waterproof the entire time. And then my rain gear this year, I didn't want to drop a lot of money on expensive rain gear, so I bought the Frogg Toggs, like ultra light rain gear, the jacket and the pants. I did carry the pants for the majority of the trail. Super useful, and I'm so impressed with Frogg Toggs. It's really light. If you take care of it, it's pretty durable. People say it's not durable, but I tend to take care of my gear, and I didn't get any holes in it. I did get some holes in the pants, but yeah, I love it, and I'll probably be using it again on future hikes. And now that I'm back home, it's got, you know, 2,700 miles on it, and I don't feel bad throwing it away because it only cost me 20-25 bucks. So that's awesome. And then the last of the gear is just stuff that I only carried in certain situations. So right at the start of the trail, when we were up in Glacier, we were doing some snow traversing and some snow travel, so I had an ice axe. This is the Camp Courser. It's a really cool ice axe. It's one of the lightest on the market, I believe, but I made the mistake. I bought the version it's too short for me, basically, so I need to go and try and exchange that for the slightly longer version. But yeah, it did its job. It's super light. Also could carry the micro spikes by Catula. They were nice to have, kind of heavy, but I only carried them for like 2 weeks, I think, so not a big deal. Bear spray was nice to have that. We did spot one grizzly in Glacier, so it's kind of reassuring to have that with you throughout grizzly territory. I dumped that as soon as possible. And then the last thing, I only carried this for probably the last 2 to 3 weeks of the trail. It's a sun umbrella made by a company out of Europe. I can't remember the name. But yeah, basically they're made in a company in Europe, but they're sold by Gossamer gear. It was really nice just to keep the sun off. I honestly, if I'd have had it, I'd have carried the entire trail. I don't really ever want to get sunburnt. I'm kind of aware of getting sunburnt, so I would just use this to keep the sun off me and kind of give myself a little bit of shade when it was really hot. But yeah, that's it. That is all my gear. That's everything I carried on the CDT. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, do me a favor and like it and subscribe to the channel. And as I said, just make sure you stay tuned to the channel over the next few weeks, because I'm going to go into more depth on a lot of this gear and give you some real thorough reviews. So thanks for watching.